Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt.
What is up, Tan and J-Man Show Nation? We're back at it live on the ISC Sports Network. Before we go any farther, I'd like to let everybody know that on Saturday night, I, the J-Man, defeated Tanner in his self-proclaimed best 59-year-old shooter in the, was it state or the city?
County, city.
County, city, father in a game of pig.
Yeah, that was very bad.
Yes, his father proved to be a good adversary, but Tanner provided very little resistance.
I could sit here and make excuses that the ball was too slick. The backboard is awful and pretty much falling apart.
We all had the same conditions.
Haven't shot a ball in 2 years.
Neither have I.
But I was going to sit here and say I was just pathetic. I wasn't good. But luckily, a game of one-on-one consists of more than just shooting different trick shots.
Unfortunately for you, that took place of our one-on-one game.
No,
and
not even close.
J-Man is the champion.
Not even close.
The Tan and J-Man Show is brought to you by The Dam Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Dam Landing is the place to be. The Dam Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. The Dam Smoke came back after a week or two absence, I believe. At least the ribs came back this weekend, and I'm sure they sold out pretty quickly.
Sold every week.
Yes, it is available on weekends and features barbecue and steaks. In addition, you can wash it down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area. Whether it be boat or wheels, the Dam Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. Taco Break is also there as well, which is one of my favorites. You can contact them at 574-223-8950.
You still haven't had the ribs yet, have you?
You don't know that.
Well, yes, I do, because last week you said you hadn't had them, and then this past week they were unavailable.
Yes, I have not
You're
had
going to have to do that, man.
Maybe this weekend.
I'm going to hold you to it.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
You got some birdie bogey for us, or do you want me to go through on this day first?
You know, let's switch it up. You go through on this day first, because I'm trying to get our show out here to the millions.
Millions in the Tan and J-Man Show Nation.
Yep.
Let's see here. 1920, Reds, Ed Roush falls asleep in center field during long infield argument. Heine Groh goes to wake him up, but umpire ejects Roush, or Rao, for delay of game.
That's pretty funny.
Those Reds, I tell you, always falling asleep on the job. That's why they never win anything.
Fell asleep during a game. That's pretty good.
1921, the very next year, Babe Ruth was arrested for speeding and fined $100 and held in jail until 4 p.m. What was the speed limit in 1921, you ask?
I was really curious.
Gonna find out here. Not
coming up with anything.
No.
Okay.
It looks like
Move
it
right
was. It wasn't very fast, but he broke the law and was held in jail. Let's see. Not a whole lot on this day. 1955, the then Brooklyn Dodgers optioned Tommy Lasorda to AAA to make room on roster for Sandy Koufax.
He's been part of their franchise for a long time.
1958, the LPGA Championship was played at Churchill Valley Country Club. Can you name who won?
Nope.
Mickey Wright. You ever heard of her?
I didn't even know women's golf was organized in that early.
She won her first of 13 major titles.
That's
back
pretty
then.
good.
Yeah.
I could probably only name you like 5 or 6 women's golfers off the top of my head.
Annika Sorenstam.
Yep.
Michelle Wee.
Yep.
There's 2.
Carrie Webb. Natalie Gilbus. I'm blanking. Lexi Thompson. Moving on.
1961, Milwaukee Braves sets record of 4 consecutive homers. It's since been tied. But can you name the 4 who hit the homers?
No.
Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Joe Adcock, and Frank Thomas. Not the Frank Thomas.
Not the Big Hurt. I should have guessed for
those
Hank
are
Aaron.
4 really good players, too.
Yeah.
1966 on this day, huge NFL news. The NFL and AFL announced plans to become NFC and AFC in 1970.
Oh. Yeah, this is pretty big news.
Pretty big. 1969, MLB legend Mickey Mantle gives his farewell retirement speech during Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium. 60,000 people were in attendance.
You should have done it again during somebody else's day.
Maybe that day was the first Mickey Mantle Day.
Probably was.
1971, the White Sox draft Danny Goodwin, number 1. He refused to sign with them.
It's a bad podcast for the Reds and White Sox fans.
Classic. You hate to see it. My mother just texted me. Thanks for
That's what I felt, the vibrate. I thought it was my phone.
My bad. That was my fault. On the open road in 1921, the speed limit was 20 to 30 miles an hour.
Wow.
He was flying. 1976, Bobby Orr signs a 5-year contract with the Chicago Blackhawks.
He was a good one.
On this day in 1977, Nolan Ryan notched his 4th career 19 strikeout game.
He's incredible, wasn't he?
It's insane. 1980, the LPGA Championship women's golf was played at Jack Nicklaus something club. What does GC stand for? Golf club.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Or golf course, but I think it's usually golf club. Here we.
Sally Little won.
Wasn't going to guess that. So,
who won the 1980 French Open Men's Tennis Championship?
McEnroe.
Bjorn Borg. You've heard of him.
Yeah, I have.
Who won the 1982 NBA Championship?
82?
Yes.
Let's go with the Celtics.
LA Lakers beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
That was my next guess. So, darn it.
There's 50-50 chance in the 80s, pretty much.
Yeah. Darn.
1985, the French Open women's tennis was held. Who won that one? This woman won her 17th Grand Slam title.
Billie Jean King?
Chris Evert beat Martina Navratilova.
Yeah, I've heard of all those 3.
Who won
those.
the 1986 NBA championship on this day?
86?
Yeah.
Celtics.
Celtics.
Yes.
Beat the
Lakers?
Houston Rockets.
I didn't know. Wow, I didn't know the Rockets did anything before the 90s.
No.
I really didn't. Huh?
What, like Clyde the Glide been there? And Akeem would have been there, wouldn't he? In 86?
Clyde was a Blazer before
he was a Blazer. Yes, he was.
Oh.
He played at Houston, though. University of Houston. Whatever.
Cougars.
Let's see. 1989, the Pirates scored 10 runs in the first, their best inning since 1942. It prompts Pirate broadcaster Jim Rooker to say he would walk from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia if the Pirates lost. Phillies beat them 15-11. Rooker walks at the end of the season.
Can you imagine if that was now like today with
social media would have been blowing up.
Be awesome.
It's great.
Get a video of them doing it.
Who won the 1999 French Open Women's?
Venus Williams.
Monica Seles.
I was going to say the Williams sisters probably weren't even on the tennis circuit yet.
91. They would have been pretty young.
Oh, 91. I thought you said 99.
No, 91. My bad.
I thought you said 99. Oh, my bad.
Steffi Graf won the 96 French Open.
Tennis and bowling would just be equal for me.
Who won the 2002?
Women's?
Yeah.
I'll go with Venus Williams.
Serena.
See, I know
Beat
Serena's
Venus.
better, but I
Yes.
thought Venus won some early in the 2000s first.
Let's see. A bunch of LPGA stuff. 2008 French Open Men's.
2008. Let's go with Nadal.
Nadal did win. He whooped on Federer
For a while, he did on the clay court.
Serena won in 2013. Who won the NHL title in 2013 on this day?
13? 13. Was that a Red Wings year?
It was not.
No.
Chicago Blackhawks beat the Los Angeles Kings.
Should have guessed.
4-1.
I don't like them.
MLB draft is this week, and in 2015 on this day, the Arizona Diamondbacks took Dansby Swanson with the number 1 overall pick. He was then subsequently shipped off to the Atlanta Braves in the Shelby Miller trade. That did not go very well for the Diamondbacks. That actually turned into a pretty good on this day.
I thought you were done after like 4 of them, so
I know it.
Kept rolling.
There was a big jump from the 1920s to 1950 something.
Yeah. But, turned the clock forward a little bit.
Yes, sir.
In the On This Day segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, Proforma Print House. Are you looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting? Proforma Print House has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company. Contact them today at 574-210-3815.
I'm not going to try a witty catchphrase today on them like I did last week.
Yeah, that was
backfired.
Not your best effort.
Didn't backfire. It
wasn't the best.
I try to give forth the best effort I possibly can each week.
Your effort level has gone way up since the pandemic started, so it's been noticed.
It's gone way up since I bought a new laptop.
It's been noticed, so and appreciated.
I'm a grinder.
Settle down there.
All right.
You ready for your birdie bogey question?
Let's hear it.
All right. Here is a list of schools with the most NBA draft picks, number 1 overall NBA draft picks in the last 40 years. So since 1980 to now. Here are some of the schools that have 2 or more. UNLV, North Carolina, LSU, Kansas, Georgetown, and Purdue all have 2.
2 what?
Number 1 overall NBA draft picks
in
the last 40 years.
Okay.
Those are the only schools with 2. There's 2 schools that have had 3 of them. Kentucky and Duke.
Okay.
Name the 6 players from those 2 schools that have been drafted number 1 overall in the NBA draft in the last 40 years.
Kentucky and Duke.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I can get. Right now, I know I can get half of them.
Yep. So you got all show.
That's a good
about
one.
it.
That is a very good question.
But I was shocked that this is just a list of schools that have 2 or more. I thought there'd be a lot more than that in the last 40 years. But
I can name Purdue's. It's Big Dog and Joe Barry Carroll.
Those 2 guys right there.
Those 2 right there.
Georgetown would have been
Ewing
and Iverson.
And Iverson. I didn't know Iverson won number 1.
Kansas. Who would that have been?
Kansas. JoJo White. Was he? Did he go to Kansas?
Ray LaFrance wasn't number 1 overall.
I don't think he was number 1.
This goes back 40 years, so.
JoJo White went 9th overall out of Kansas.
But the 2 LSU would have been Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Who would have been the other one? Pistol Pete would have been before 80.
Oh, this is just since 80.
This is the last 40 years.
LSU. Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah. North Carolina's 2.
Jordan went 3rd.
And he was,
James Worthy go number 1? Can't imagine he went number 1.
And then UNLV's 2.
Larry Johnson and Anthony Bennett.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
James Worthy did go number 1 overall in 82. So I got one of them. I'm extremely smart today.
Vince Carter wasn't number 1, was he?
I think Vince Carter went 3rd.
Antoine Jameson wasn't number 1.
No.
There's probably somebody we're forgetting.
Vince Carter went 5th.
Yeah.
Carolina. Sean May, Felton weren't.
Harrison Barnes was 2nd. No, Marvin Williams was 2nd.
Harrison Barnes was a first rounder, but he wasn't that high.
No, I was thinking Marvin Williams in my head. So, Yep.
Barnes went 7th.
Okay. Oh.
It's a good question, though.
Yep.
Birdie Bogey's brought to you by not on this day. Right as I was thinking I was really smart,
You're
royally screwed this
going
up.
smooth.
It's because you switched up the order this week. That's why I said that. Brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. Fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. They've had lettuce head, salad mix, radishes, carrots, kale, rhubarb, and asparagus. You like rhubarb?
I don't think I've ever had it.
It's really sweet.
No, my grandma likes making rhubarb pie.
Rhubarb pie. I've had a rhubarb pie. It's real sweet, but
I might like it if it's pretty sweet.
it's delicious.
Yeah. Get yourself some.
Get your veggies.
Gotta get stuck on that one of these days. All right, we got some news to talk about. Golf's returning this week. Live sports, which IndyCar returned this week, so I guess we got another live sport on the docket now, which I think Scott Dixon won this weekend. I'm not 100% sure on that. Kevin Harvick won the NASCAR race, but we'll get to golf in a little bit. I wanted the J-Man to let us know the latest going on with the MLB negotiations.
So Major League Baseball proposed to the players today a 76-game season, 75% of the full prorated salary, 8 playoff teams per league, compared to, how many are there usually? 5?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
8 playoff teams per league. That's more than half. That's like the NBA.
Yeah, because there's usually 5. Yeah.
No qualifying offer for 2020, so teams that lose free agents receive draft pick for players, sign multi-year deals at $35 million plus, or one-year deals at $7.18 million plus, but they will not lose any draft picks. Spring Training 2.0 will last 21 days. Season start July 10th and September 27th. Some other stuff. I know the players hate the deal because one guy literally said 2 weeks ago and you'll like this one because it's an inside joke we have. 2 weeks ago the Major League Baseball proposed 601, and today they proposed half a dozen of another. So it's pretty much the same thing. They get a 10% salary increase, but they play 50% more games from the last one because there were rumors they were going to offer a 48-game season. And at this point, I can't imagine this goes to a vote because the players hate it. I think eventually it's just Major League Baseball is going to have to say we're playing a 50-game season whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, you can go on strike, whatever. You don't have to play it. I think they're just going to end up playing the season as is. I do think there will be a season. Most people think there will be a season. It's just whether the players will agree to play it. We could be seeing a kind of strike year like back in '87 in the NFL when they had replacement players. So I might have to go try out and play for the Chicago Cubs, Major League franchise. Could you see me out there playing first base at Wrigley Field?
I would pay a lot of money to see you try. A lot of money.
I haven't swung an actual baseball bat since like 2011.
I would pay 4 figures to watch that.
What would be your limit? Like $5,000?
Well, it would have to contain certain things. Like, I would want you to go against Aroldis Chapman. I would pay $5,000 to watch that in a heartbeat. As a lefty, you look like Kruk against the big unit.
I was going to say I'd be looking like Henry Rowan Gardner, standing all the way in the back of the box as far back as possible.
That would just be terrifying.
That'd be awful. I have nothing else to say, literally, about Major League Baseball. I did get a fan question from our buddy Aaron Lynch. He said, what do you want the agreement to be? I think 81-game season, full prorated salary. They get half of their original pay, which I think is fair.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. Hopefully this new deal at least starts a dialogue again, because there was a report that the owners were going to talk today about whether they are even going to restart negotiations with the Players Association. Again, it's a bad look, and the collective bargaining agreement is up, I think, after next year. So this doesn't put much faith in the owners. The players will have no faith in them. and the likelihood of a strike then will be off the charts.
Yep.
So it's just a bad deal.
I'm telling you, a lot of regular baseball fans like me, if they don't have a season, they might not come back.
That's right.
Next year.
And I think there will be a season. It's just what kind of legitimate season will it be? If it's 50 games, it's not even legitimate.
No. I'm telling you, the Rays are going to win it all.
Well, the Rays should be really good. I mean, they could be good enough to win. I was just
throwing them out as a team that never does anything. But
sorry for raining on your parade.
Got to go get so serious.
The Pirates could be a team that could go and win the NL Central. Just 50 games, you learn nothing. Teams have great 50-game stretches all the time. The Mariners started the season like 17-4 last year. They will be picking, I think, in the top 5 on Wednesday.
Which, speaking of that, this will probably be the highest-rated MLB draft ever. It'll probably get more attention than it ever has this year.
It'll be on both MLB Network and ESPN. And with all this other stuff going on, it could be very embarrassing for Major League Baseball.
They could have their biggest draft, and yet they're not close right now to have a season.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the thing about this new proposal is on the surface it looks good enough for the players, but once you really dig down, it's awful for the players. It's just as bad as the first proposal. But this will be the owner's excuse to blame the players when there's not a very good season this year. And that's just the owners could not care less about the players or the fans or the sports. Care about that almighty dollar.
Every day's wasted opportunity.
The crazy thing is there is still 9 owners left that were owners of a team during the 94 strike. Seems like those 9 should step up and say, we almost lost baseball. Until Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire came and saved it.
Which is a great transition.
That's what I was trying to do. I was
segueing. Which the first of what, two-part documentary?
It's just a one-part.
Is it just one?
Just one part, yeah.
Was the Lance Armstrong the only two-parter?
Yes, because the Bruce Lee one was last night.
And I did not watch any of that.
Going back to Kansas, number 1 overall pick. My dad just texted me Danny Manning.
Yeah.
Forgot about him. He just got fired at Wake Forest.
He did. The summer that saved baseball was the home run chase between McGwire and Sosa back in '98. And ESPN's doing a 30 for 30 documentary on it this Sunday night. Should be a good one.
Look forward to it. That was kind of the first. We were 6 years old. That's kind of the first baseball season I truly remember. I remember right where I was when McGwire hit his 62nd, and Sosa came running in, gave him a punch to the gut. They were all congratulating him as he ran the bases. But the thing people don't remember, and you didn't even know this, but Sosa's the one that won the MVP that year, even though McGwire hit the 70.
Oh, his team made the playoffs, like you told me before. I didn't even know that.
Cubs were garbage before that year. Then he hit 66 bombs. They had a really good year and won Game 163 against the Giants to win the wild card. Then got swept by the Braves.
Did they go from then till 03 without making the playoffs?
Yes, because then the next year they lost 90-plus games again. Then they were bad in 2000, good in 2001, won 88 games but didn't make the playoffs, and bad in 2002, then good in 03. From 03 to now, it's been the best stretch of Cubs baseball we've ever had since.
That's 17 years.
Really, the 30s is the best stretch. Easily, they've been to the playoffs. How many times? There's 3, 6, 8 times in 17 years, which that's the best it's been in 80 years. So. Yep.
See what you got to look forward to the next 80? I mean, you won't be like 80 more years, but you could be.
Could be. I could be 108. Who knows? Technology today, we'll be living longer. I might just be immortal.
But I do remember that 98 season. I remember my dad being a Cub fan, but he was also a big McGwire fan. So, kind of interesting.
That's weird.
I remember being a McGwire fan and Sosa fan growing up. I liked them both. I had the McGwire wiffle ball bat.
I was a big fan of Sammy Sosa.
I had a Sosa jersey.
Didn't like McGwire.
Yeah.
Don't like the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Hate them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Can't stand them.
Yeah. They weren't even that good then.
Then they got good.
Yep.
That's all we had to hear about. They had the worst World Series champion team in the history of baseball. I will die on that hill. 2006. They went 83-78. Won the World Series.
Got hot when it mattered most.
Shouldn't even been in the playoffs.
I got hot in the playoffs when it mattered most.
The Central was garbage that year.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Jim Hendry.
But, I'm looking forward to watching it Sunday night. Looking forward to learning a lot, hearing some back stories and stories from behind the scenes and everything. So we'll have probably a bunch to recap about that next Monday.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add there?
Nope. I'm looking forward to it.
You prepared a segment for the show.
J-Man did. I had an outline of an idea, and then I wrote it down and it became an actual idea.
It became a reality.
So what I did a player A versus player B comparison. I'm not going to tell Tanner who the players are at first. He's going to...
I'm trying not to glance his direction because I don't want to see his screen.
Yes. One of the players is a Hall of Famer. The other is not, but they had very comparable stats, and I want to see which player Tanner chooses, of which career was better.
I want to think how my mind thinks. Or you want to find out how my mind thinks. That's kind of scary.
That is scary. I'm very nervous
Scary
about
place
it.
up there.
And so I did 5 baseball players, 2 NBA players, and 2 NFL ones.
Okay.
So, starting with baseball, these were both outfielders. Okay. Player A played 23 years in Major League Baseball.
Quite a long career.
Played left field, was really bad defensively. In his career, he hit .294 with a .385 on base, a .425 slugging, 170 career homers, 2,605 career hits. He won 1 World Series that he played in, 69.4 career WAR. So that's the first player. Keep that fresh in your mind.
It's a lot of numbers there today.
I know it. Player B played 18 years in Major League Baseball, played center and left, hit .284, .352 on base, .433 slugging, had 170 career more hits, had 65 career more homers, had less steals, and his career WAR was around the same. This guy won 2 World Series and hit .326 in the World Series. Which player are you taking?
Player B.
Player B is not the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I kind of guessed how that was going, but
yes.
Yeah.
Player A, Tim Raines. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Player B, Johnny Damon.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but I wouldn't say Damon is a Hall of Famer, but
right.
Well.
Johnny Damon got 1.9% of the vote on his first year on the ballot, so he's completely off.
But what I liked was he played 2 positions instead of just one.
Right.
You said he had more hits, he had more homers.
More homers.
1 more World Series.
Yep. And was really good in the World Series.
Yep.
So, all right, these 2 are closers. Player A, 2.83 career ERA, 300 saves, played 12 years and won 1 World Series. He threw 12 career postseason innings, but he did win a World Series. Player B, 2.89 career ERA, 3rd all-time in appearances, 424 career saves, which is 5th all-time. Their wins above replacement were pretty much identical. He did not win a World Series, but had a 1.88 career ERA in postseason play. Which player are you taking?
It's funny because, a lot of times you go with who is the more proven winner, but this guy had 124 more saves than the other, 5th most all time. I got to go with option B.
He is not the Hall of Famer.
I figured he wasn't again. I just kind of know how this is going, but I'm going by the stats.
Player A, Bruce Sutter, former Cub and Cardinal. Player B, John Franco, former Mets lefty closer. That is kind of egregious in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think
124 more.
Yeah, I think Franco should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, wow.
These 2 are shortstops. Player A played 24 years in Major League Baseball, had 2,877 career hits with 80 career homers, hit .272 in his career, .336 on base, .352 slugging. He had 11 Gold Gloves. Player B played
no World Series?
No World Series.
I think I might know who that is. Maybe.
Player B played 19 years in Major League Baseball, 2,460 career hits, 28 career homers, hit .262, .337, .328, had 13 Gold Gloves. Which player are you taking?
I'm going to switch up because I went B both times. I'm going to take A this time.
Player A is not the Hall of Famer.
Jeez, I'm awful on this game.
Omar Vizquel.
That's who I thought.
Player A.
That's who I thought it was.
Not in the Hall of Fame. Ozzie Smith, player B.
Both of those were in my head, and I know I'm like, oh, you're just saying that. No, they were both in my head when I heard the 80 home runs and 28 home runs. 28 home runs, that's all he had.
Yep. Wow. It was obviously a different day back in the
Did a bunch of backflips, though.
Yes. And that's probably why, because people remember him,
Yeah.
And he played for like one team. He played with the Padres.
Yeah, Omar
was kind of all over. But Ozzie got 91% of votes on first ballot, was first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Vizquel will eventually get in because he's been on the ballot 3 years and his votes have gone up each year, and he has 52.6% of votes this year. You have to have 75%
Some of the quickest
to get in.
hands in the league.
Yep. All right, these 2 are outfielders. Player A, 17 years in Major League Baseball, 2,160 career hits, 383 homers, hit .313, 400, 565 in his career, 7 Gold Gloves. Player B, 17 years as well in Major League Baseball, 1,949 hits, 393 career homers, hit .284, 376, 527. He won 8 Gold Gloves. Which player are you taking?
One of these guys, Andrew Jones.
No.
Okay.
But Andrew Jones should be in the Hall of
I'm
Fame.
going to take player B.
Player B is not the Hall of Famer.
See, aren't you guys glad I don't vote for the Hall of Fame?
Player A, Larry Walker.
Hall of Famer. Newly Hall of Famer.
Player B, Jim Edmonds.
Wow.
He only got 2.5% of the vote on his first year on the ballot.
You know what's weird is I just listened to an hour podcast today all about Larry Walker.
That was boring.
And I probably heard a lot of those stats, and it just went in one ear, out the other. So,
all right, one more MLB one.
Larry Walker was kind of a jerk, by the way.
Was he?
During his playing days.
Jim Edmonds was a major jerk as well. So they're both jerks.
He, when he played for Jim Leland, when he was the manager, he kind of picked and chose what day he was going to show up and play, what days he wasn't. Drove Leland nuts.
I bet.
Then the Rockies finally got tired of it and shipped him off to St. Louis.
That's why.
Then he played every single day as a Cardinal.
I remember going to the car. I didn't. Was Jim? You sure Jim Leland was with the Rockies? Or are you talking Jim Tracy?
No, Leland, when he was with
Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know. Leland.
They kept saying Leland on the podcast. Maybe, I don't know, maybe just part of the staff or something. I don't know. Unless I was hearing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're saying Leland, not Tracy.
Leland was with the...
And then they were talking about Clint
I
Hurdle.
want to say Leland was with... I hate Clint Hurdle with his Pirate days. All right.
I wasn't paying attention, really, to the podcast.
These are both right fielders. Player A played 19 years in Major League Baseball, 2,712 hits, 339 homers, 154 steals, hit .290 with a 339 on base and a 472 slugging. His career wins above replacement was 40.1. He won 2 World Series. Player B, 22 years in Major League Baseball, 2,866 career hits, 384 career homers, hit .389, 356, 465 in his career, 38.7 WAR. But this guy never won the World Series.
I'm going with player B because I blanked every stat you said on player A. Couldn't even recite one.
You actually chose a Hall of Famer this time.
1 for 5.
Harold Baines. Give a shout out to Sean Shriver because player A should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's from his Pirate, because he's a Pirate fan.
Yeah.
Right? Dave Parker should be in the Hall of Fame.
Speaking of Sean, I was reading his comment here. That's why when you were going over player A, he says Ozzie Smith, in his opinion, is the greatest defensive infielder of all time and regularly saved 100 runs a year with his glove, which is equivalent of 100 RBIs.
That's fair, but I don't know if he should be in the Hall of Fame, but it's kind of going to be the same argument when Yadi Molina is up for it, because he's going to be a Hall of Famer and he shouldn't be, but he'll be in. And I wouldn't even call Omar Vizquel a Hall of Famer, but he's
not.
Not yet, but I think he will be. All right, ready for... I actually have 3 NBA ones.
All right, ready.
These 2 were both centers. Player A, 11.8 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game. He was a one-time All-Star. Player B, 9.5 points per game, 9.8 rebounds per game. He won a Defensive Player of the Year and was a 4-time All-Defensive Team and 4-time block champ.
Give me player B.
Player B is not the Hall of Famer.
Of course he's not, because he's never an All-Star, but he was a Defensive Player of the Year and a 4-time All-Star.
Player A, Vlade Divac. Player B, Marcus Camby.
Oh. Yeah, I was trying to think in my head. I can't even think of guys who were around that like point per game.
Right.
Both solid players.
Yeah.
Both played for quite a few teams.
Another center. Player A, 7 years in the NBA, 12 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game, shot 50% from the floor. He was not an All-Star. Player B, 10 years in the NBA, 13.5 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. He was more of a three-point shooter as a center. He was a one-time All-Star.
Player A.
Player A is the Hall of Famer. He shouldn't be, but I think it's because he's from Lithuania, and that's Sabonis.
His knees gave out on him, man. He was a good player.
Arvydas Sabonis.
Yep.
Player B, Mehmet Okur.
Wow.
Remember him?
Yeah,
He had
vaguely.
he had better stats. He was a Jazz. And all right, one more NBA. Point guard. Player A, 17 years in the NBA, 12.5 points per game, 6.5 assists. Player B, 15 years in the NBA, 11.1 points per game, 6.7 assists per game, 5-time All-Defensive Team.
Player B.
Player B is the Hall of Famer. He is Maurice Cheeks.
Oh.
Player A, Andre Miller.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one makes a lot of sense.
Now I have 2 NFL ones, which
right.
I kind of skewed these stats a little bit, and I'm not a big fan of this one. But player A, 34 interceptions in his career. These are safety, by the way.
Safety?
Yep. 3-time Pro Bowl, 2-time Super Bowl champ, and won a Defensive Player of the Year. Player B, 24 interceptions, 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Is player A Ed Reed?
No.
Darn it. Can you read player B's stats one more time?
24 interceptions, 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
I'll go with player B.
Why?
I don't know. Because I'm having really trouble remembering.
Player A, 34 interceptions,
Yeah.
3-time Pro Bowl, 2-time Super Bowl champ, and he won a Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, but I keep getting wrong the players I think should be in the
That
Hall of
makes me
Fame.
mad.
They're not, so that's why I went with option B. So I obviously got this one right.
Because player B is Steve Atwater, and player A is
Smiling Assassin.
Dick Anderson, even though Dick Anderson was
I
better
had
safety.
Atwater in my mind, but I didn't think he had 24 picks. So
Player A, these are both linebackers. 7-time Pro Bowl, 5-time All-Pro, led NFL in total tackles twice. Player B, 8-time Pro Bowl, 4-time All-Pro, never led NFL in tackles, but he did win a Defensive Player of the Year.
player B.
Player B is Brian Urlacher. Player A should also be in the Hall of Fame. That's Zach Thomas.
Good ones.
Was a good
Both
one.
454.
Yes. Peyton Manning would always say that Zach Thomas gave him the worst fits during his playing days.
My dad says Sabonis got in for his play before going into NBA.
See,
Bill Walton thought he was the best center in the world in the early 80s.
It is a basketball Hall of Fame. It's not an NBA, so there's a lot of college guys in there and contributors, so that's why. But in international, so it was that's why the MLB one was so much easier to find guys, just because it's harder to get in.
Yep.
For one, but
good stuff.
Very mad at that Steve Atwater one.
Smiling Assassin, man.
Ticks me.
Newly Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. Dick Anderson should be a
Hall
Hall
of Famer. Took him forever to get in, but he did get in.
Should be in, man. Now what? Got golf here?
Yeah, I got some golf and a few other things that we can hit on. But, yes, live golf is back this week. No fans are in attendance, but, at least it's a meaningful tournament. It's not just a, for a good cause charity event or anything like that. But it's the Charles Schwab Challenge, which will be in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's got some big groups, some really big names they paired together for Thursday, Friday. One of those groups could be Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, and Brooks Koepka. 3 big heavy hitters there.
Has Rahm ever won a major?
No, not
He's
yet.
the only one in that. Koepka and Rory are kind of the 2 guys that have won all of them here this decade.
This is Rory's first career start at the Charles Schwab Challenge. But he has 2 wins in his PGA Tour career when making a tournament debut. 2010 Wells Fargo and the 2019 RBC Canadian Open. John Rahm's only played Colonial 3 times, but he has 2 top 5s. So he's got a pretty good track record. And Koepka's only played there once, and he finished second. So all 3 of those guys should be in the mix. 3 buddies are paired here. Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth. 3 really good friends. Ricky has 2 top 10s and 6 starts on the season so far this year. Thomas enters the week number 2 in the FedEx Cup standings. He's one of 2 players with multiple wins on the season. Just seems like forever ago since, they stopped playing in March, so you forget there was even a season 2 months before that.
What was the last full tournament that was played?
It's the week before the Players, whichever that was. Yeah, because they played 1 round of the Players and shut everything down. And Spieth's won here once in 2016, has 2 tied for seconds in 2015 and in 17, 7 starts, but Spieth hadn't won in a long, long time. So Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, and Justin Rose are all paired together. DeChambeau's finished in the top 5 in his last 3 starts on the season. Dustin Johnson enters the week 111th in the FedEx Cup standings. And he's not missed a Tour Championship since his rookie season in 2008. So he better get it going if he wants to qualify for the Tour Championship later this year. And in 2018, Justin Rose became the first player to win the Charles Schwab Challenge and go on to win the FedEx Cup in the same season. And the last of the featured pairings, you got Phil Mickelson, Kevin Na, and Gary Woodland. Mickelson, of course, is a 44-time PGA Tour winner. He has won at the Charles Schwab Challenge twice, in the year 2000 and the year 2008. Kevin Na is the defending champ, where he won his third PGA Tour title there last year. And he earned his fourth earlier this season at the Shriners Hospital for Children Open. And Gary Woodland is the reigning U.S. Open champion. He has 4 top 10s on the season, including a tied for 8 at the Honda Classic in his most recent start. So we will see. I expect a lot of guys to be pretty rusty. But as a golf fan, I'm glad to see them back playing live.
I'm sure they've been playing a ton.
Oh, yeah. It's just different when you get in a tournament setting. But then again, there's not going to be fans. But
still, it means a lot more.
Of your counterparts are going to be around.
Right.
I mean, we saw Ricky Fowler, Matthew Wolff, Rory McIlroy, and Dustin Johnson show off a little rust a few weeks ago in the Skins Game Challenge. But they have the power rankings here on PGAtour.com. Go through these really fast. In the top 15, you got Bryson DeChambeau ranked 15th for this week. Sungjae Im, 14th. Jordan Spieth, 13th. Harris English, 12th. Matt Kuchar, 11th. Ryan Palmer, 10th. Tony Finau, 9th. Mark Leishman, 8th. Kevin Kistner, 7th. Justin Thomas, 6th. Brooks Koepka, 5th. Kevin Na, 4th. Rory McIlroy, 3rd. Webb Simpson, 2nd. And Jon Rahm is their favorite to win.
Jon Rahm.
No Ricky Fowler, top 15. A little disappointed in that, but that's okay. No Dustin Johnson. No Ricky. No Jason Day. Xander Schauffele, Patrick Reed, or Sergio. And they're all playing this week. And Justin Rose and Mickelson. So a pretty loaded field. But it is missing Mr. Eldrick Tiger Woods. Not playing. I was hoping maybe he'd tee it up this week. Would have been good for the ratings. But yeah. I'm guessing it'll pop a pretty good number anyways because nothing's on. And people are starving for live sports. So
this will be the J-Man's Bucket Prediction of the Week.
I was wondering what it was going to be.
You know who I'm picking.
Your boy Rory.
Rory McIlroy will get her done like he never has when I picked him before.
Hey, man, he's number 1 in the world, but one of these days he's got to figure out that darn Josh Munn up there, the J-Man.
I'm going to keep picking him until he wins one. And if he doesn't win one, well, there's a common denominator. Yeah. It's me.
So it's looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. I read today where the rumor has it they're going to mic up some players. So that should be fun.
J-Man's Bucket Prediction of the Week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering. For life, home, auto, renters, business, workers, comp, and farm, contact Travis at 219-869-4561. And his email is travis.watchering@infb.com.
You know, it's a good time for golf to experiment with some different things like micing people up. And, I mean, the first 5 tournaments, I believe, aren't going to have fans. The first one, the 2 have fans, will be mid-July at the Memorial. That'll probably be the first sporting event to have fans, unless racing gets fans back before then. But I don't.
The Korean Baseball League put a bunch of stuffed animals behind the plate. Did you see that?
That was just creepy looking. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting because some states are really starting to open up and allow about 50%. So.
Well, it's kind of interesting when it comes to baseball anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas is allowing like 25 to 50%.
I know Florida's up to 50% for like concert halls, and I would think stadiums are probably right up there too.
Yeah, I think it's 50% in Texas, and Major League Baseball says you can do what your state says you can do, so that could provide an unfair advantage that the Houston Astros definitely don't need.
Oh, yeah.
God forbid they catch a break come baseball season. So
it's at least we're getting some more live sports back.
Things are starting to feel a little more normal.
Getting there slowly, but getting there. That's the most important part. A lot of colleges are having people on campus now, so voluntary workouts are starting. Doing testing and everything.
I don't think we talked about this last week because it wasn't official yet, but the NBA will be back late July.
July 31st.
July 31st. They're going to play 8 regular season games. 22 teams were invited back. What is it, 9 Eastern teams?
9 East, 13 West. So it's your top 8 plus any team within 4 games because there's going to be 8 regular season games, then playoffs.
And Game 7 of the NBA Finals could be October 12th, I think.
Right around the time of the NBA draft.
Which is weird because they moved that deadline to take your name out to like August something. Man, that could really hurt colleges.
That will be because for class schedules and stuff, you better have everything lined up.
Of course, they're going to make sure that your stud basketball players will be there if they decide not to.
My dad says the Rays would love to get 50% of fans. That would be a huge crowd for them.
I was going to say, this will be a big advantage for them because they're used to not playing in front of anyone. So,
But, it will be interesting.
And I wonder what that's going to do for next season, NBA. They're going to have to push it back, you'd think.
I've been a proponent to push it back to Christmas anyways.
But then the 8 teams that haven't been able to play since early March, it'll be almost a full year by the time.
NHL's in the same boat. NHL's in the exact same boat, so
it's just kind of how it's going to have to be.
Yeah, it's gonna. Hopefully, it's only a 1-year problem. Hopefully, don't have to deal with this again.
It's going to be a 2-season problem, but then hopefully
1 calendar whole. Yeah. Man, I was going to say something. I completely blanked.
That was my fault.
No. But I did find, we talk a lot of Big Ten sports on here. I did find an interesting article today on CBSSports.com. They did a Big Ten coaches ranking of football.
Wow.
Football. Well, yeah, they're not going to do a basketball one. And
I'd like to hear the basketball one, though. That'd be far more interesting to me.
But you can probably guess.
Actually, didn't we? You told us this. You told me this on Friday.
Sports, though. Okay. It was a different website because they have a different number 1.
Really? Oh, okay.
Their number 1 is James Franklin.
That makes more sense than old Ryan Day.
They have him ranked number 9 overall in the country.
Interesting.
Coach.
Presentation.
Number 2 is Ryan Day. They have ranked number 10.
He's coached, 17 games?
Yeah. Yeah, he was ranked number 10th last year in their power rankings because he hadn't coached a full season. Got Jim Harbaugh, number 3.
Overrated. Drinks milk with steak.
Kirk Ferentz, number 4.
Got some culture issues there in Iowa City, it sounds like.
Sure does. Good old Captain Rowboat, number 5.
That's about right.
Fleck.
That's about right. I'd honestly think about putting him ahead of Ryan Day. Ryan Day's at Ohio State where he inherited this loaded roster.
And Fleck's done amazing.
He's done amazing.
At Minnesota.
His shtick gets old.
Still wouldn't put him ahead of this guy they put him ahead of, though, Paul Christ from Wisconsin.
I would.
Would you?
I think Paul Christ.
5 seasons. He's 52-16.
He's good.
Won at least 10 games in 4 seasons and won the Big Ten West 3 times.
But again, he took over a loaded program well.
You're right. But hey,
guess you got to sustain it. I guess.
Yeah.
You a little bit of props.
Your guy Pat Fitzgerald, number 7.
That's fair. He had one really bad year, and that was last year. But he needs to get over technology. He's just he rips on the players for liking cell phones.
Your guy, my guy, everyone's guy, Scott Frost, number 8.
That is woefully too high. He needs to be in that 12 to 14.
Went 4-8 his first year, 5-7 last year.
Progress.
Lost his best receiver today in JD Spielman. 800-plus yards each of his 3 years as a Husker. 14th player to transfer out of Nebraska in the offseason.
He was remarkably consistent. Yep. 830 yards, 818 yards, 898 yards.
So they still have Wan'Dale Robinson, but they lose him. Losing some pieces there.
Who else they have?
Martinez.
I thought he had a
they're
terrible
going to be young
year
again, probably.
Year.
So
they'll have their excuse, though.
Yeah. But there's a rumor he might go to Minnesota.
Spielman?
Mm-hmm.
Man, their receiving core's loaded. They have, what's that guy's name? They lost Tyler Johnson.
They have Bateman still.
Bateman, that's it, Rashad Bateman.
Number 9, Greg Schiano. Hadn't coached in the college game in quite a while. Got him number 9.
Pretty dang good at old Buckers.
Yeah, back in 2011. But
that was a long time ago.
We will see what he can do. Number 10, Jeff Brom.
Too high.
Too high. He was number 8 last year, so he fell 2 spots. Number 11, Tom Allen. He rose a spot. He was 12 last year.
Surprised he only rose 1 spot. But who's he? He should have, honestly, if they're doing this based off of like last year, he should be like 4th.
Yeah, well, last year alone.
Yeah.
But number 12, Lovie Smith.
Too high. Who's below him? Oh.
Number 13, Mel Tucker. He hadn't coached a game yet at Michigan State.
Give me Tucker over Lovey.
And number 14 is Mike Loxley.
Loxley needs to be an offensive coordinator.
He's 6-40 as a head coach between New Mexico and Maryland.
He was at New Mexico, and they never won more than 2 games, I think. And I have to go look up Loxley.
And Mel Tucker went 5-7 in his only year at Colorado.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Loxley at New Mexico went 1-11, 1-11, 0-4. 2-26, and he was interim coach at Maryland, 15-1-5.
But you look at Lovey,
6-4.
He is just 15-34 and 8-28 in the Big Ten. But that gets him ahead of the other 2 guys still.
Did go to a bowl last year.
Yeah, making progress.
Oh, really?
This guy has him as the 53rd best coach in the nation, Lovey Smith.
A lot of good coaches in the Big Ten.
He has Tom Allen as the 46th in the nation, Brom 44th, Shiano 39th. Frost 34th.
I personally think
Fitzgerald 21st. Chris 17th. Fleck 15th. Ferentz 14th.
I hate coach rankings so much.
Yeah, well, there's just something to talk about. Tucker 55th. Loxley 65th.
Now, if a basketball one came out and Brad Underwood was ranked like 3rd, I'd be
love that one, didn't you?
all over it.
So, yeah, 3rd. Wow, that's because the Big Ten is pretty loaded with some coaches.
No, but I'm just saying, if he was 3rd, I'd be ecstatic.
Well,
he's probably more.
Yeah,
he'd probably be ranked in that 6-7 spot.
Let's see what else we got here that I could bring up. I saw a good MLB draft article. Now I'm not gonna be able to find it. I'm sure it was a like the best draft pick for every team. One that they kind of lucked into, and then one that they missed by trading away a pick or something that became a really good player. But now I'm not finding the article, of course.
Well, this year's draft's going to be a lot different. It's only going to be 5 rounds compared to 40, and undrafted free agents will only be able to sign for up to $20,000 just to save the billionaire owners some Skrilla.
I'm looking.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm not finding it.
But I always look forward to the Major League Baseball draft. Cubs have been linked to college position players. One guy in particular is UCLA outfielder. He's a center fielder, Garrett Mitchell. He is a left-handed stick, 6'3", 204 pounds, has really good raw power, but it hasn't really translated to games. He runs really well. He might have to move to a corner outfield spot once he fills out a little bit, but he's projected to go in the top 10, at least on MLB Pipeline. He's the 6th ranked draft prospect. Cubs pick at 16th, but I've heard the Cubs linked to him a bunch. They think he'll fall there. Could be a leadoff type hitter, which Cubs haven't had one since old Dexter Fowler. So,
what is this? This is a power ranking of MLB draft. This guy focuses on each team's best first-round pick. I cannot stress enough that these are first-round picks only.
Cubs has to be Chris Bryant.
But it ranks the teams. It has Red Sox number 1.
Oh, just based off their first-round selections? Or
yeah, because it talks about Roger Clemens,
Daryl
Akersfelds, Ray Hayward, Joel Davis, Rich Stoll, Wayne Dotson,
those guys.
Tim Belcher.
Heard of Belcher. Angels took Mike Trout, I think, 26th overall.
As the Angels, I don't know. I'm really confused by this list. Dodgers 3rd, Braves 4th, Mariners 5th, Yankees 6th, Blue Jays 7th, Twins 8th, Astros 9th, A's 10th, Cubs are 12th. Going by WAR, it's Rafael Palmeiro, who went 22nd in 1985.
Steroid.
Kerry Wood is 2nd, yeah. 3rd, Chris Bryant, and he's the pick. Sure, he went 2nd overall, but many were clamoring for the Cubs to take pitcher John Gray. Instead, Bryant was the pick, and
Worked out
2nd overall after Mark Appel.
Appel, yes.
By the end of 2016, Bryant had won Rookie of the Year MVP and a World Series ring.
Hard to argue with that one.
I'm trying to see who's the worst.
Reds. Hope it's the Reds.
Rangers. Kevin Brown, 4th overall in 1986.
That's their best
Mark
one?
Teixeira was 5th in 2001.
Give me Tax over Kevin Brown.
Rockies 29th.
Kevin Brown wasn't a very good guy either.
Rockies was Helton and Tulo. After that, it was Jeff Jenkins.
Tulo out of?
Long Beach State.
Yes. Helton, obviously.
Where are the Reds? 17th.
Who's their best one?
Barry Larkin, 4th overall, 1985.
Makes sense.
Next best Reds first rounders are the likes of Todd Frazier, Jay Bruce, and Gary Nolan.
Ugh. Jay
Yep.
Bruce, Todd Frazier.
Yep.
Todd Frazier out of Big Ten school now.
Rutgers.
I gave it away.
Yeah, I remember him at the rack watching a couple games.
That's out of Toms River, New Jersey.
Ready for the Birdie Bogey?
Played in the Little League World Series. I am as ready as I can be.
So the two schools who have had the most number one overall NBA draft picks in the last 40 years.
Two had three of them.
Yes,
all I
powerhouses.
know. Duke and Kentucky. Jaleel Okafor, I remember that one. Anthony Davis and John Wall.
Second.
The 3 of the 6 that I can get.
I don't think Okafor was number one pick.
He was number 2 pick. Who went
Yep.
number 1 that year?
I was going to say, I think you're all around.
Man, I thought he went number 1. So I got 2. Wall and
Yeah, I got him.
Davis, definitely.
You got those two. So you're already not getting a birdie.
Why? I threw
guessed
those
Okafor?
numbers. I didn't guess them. I just threw them out there.
You threw them out there.
I
so
think
confidently, so
Okafor
you could get a par here.
went, no.
So you got 2 of the 3 for Kentucky already.
Yes.
Don't have any Duke boys.
Luol Deng went 2nd. Pretty sure.
I think he
Maybe
was
he went
like
later.
9th, but
7th. I don't think Grant Hill went number 1 either. I'm sure Leitner didn't. He might have. Who knows? I'm just bad at this. I got 2.
you got a third of them.
I don't think Antoine Walker went number 1 overall. He was probably pretty
Forgot
close.
he played at Kentucky.
He was really good there
He
for a
was
little
good.
bit.
Him and Tony Delk.
I don't think Ron Mercer went 1. Oh,
The first round pick.
yeah, I think he was
Was
like
he?
5th.
Okay.
I think Sam Bowie went 2, didn't he? Cripes. Because Olajuwon went 1. All right. I don't want to guess him if I'm wrong, because I don't want to sound stupid. I'm going back. I just don't know early 80s at all besides the Jordan year. Or 90s. Are the Duke ones going to make me really upset?
You're going to be upset at every single one of them. Every single one of them. I'm going to give you a minute left. So we got to cut this thing off so we don't get cut off on the network.
Who the heck was taken last year? Kentucky, Duke. Oh, Zion Williamson.
That was last year. You got one Duke boy, 2 points. You're halfway there. You're running out of time.
That would have really upset me if I didn't get Zion, though. I can deal with the other 3, but...
You're still going to kick yourself, dude.
Oh, I'm sure. Shane Battier. I don't think he went number 1. No. I don't know.
Well, your other Kentucky guy you're missing was Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
That was a tough
one. I completely forgot about him.
Your other 2 Duke boys. One you always miss, comes up on the podcast a lot, Elton Brand.
Oh, man, yep.
And Kyrie Irving.
See, the only one I'm upset about is the Kyrie Irving one. The other 2 are whatever.
Bogey.
But that's a par. I got 3 out of 6.
I don't know. You threw out so many names.
I know, but they weren't official guesses. I'm like, I don't think this guy...
3 out of 6 does not deserve a par. That deserves a bogey.
That's a par. I give you pars for...
You've never given me pars.
1 out of 4.
Never
Well, now I'm never going to give you pars, ever.
Now it's game time, huh? Wrap us up, J-Man.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Noble Gnome LLC, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching, The Dam Landing, and
Proforma Print House.
Proforma Print House. Got anything else to add to that?
Give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, please. If we can get up to about 50 ratings, we'll do some sort of giveaway. I think we're at 6 right now, so we have ways to go as far as ratings. So that'd be great to get to 50, and we'll do some sort of giveaway. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.
We will be back at it next Monday night on the ISC Sports Network. Have a fantastic week, everybody.
Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy.